Okay, so next questions. Here are a little bit more personal, harder ones. You guys ready?
Oh, great. Okay. Maybe I should have prepped. No,
no, just kidding. What is a memorable lesson you learned about yourself through founding and working with Kiwi Lane? Anyone? Any takers?
I'll go first, I guess.
Okay.
Okay. So there's two things that come to mind for me. I grew up very, very shy, like ridiculously shy. And when we first started Kiwi Lane, I can't say that I was a super confident person. But one of the best things that happened while we went and did shows, and I would sit and I would demo all day, was that I learned to become more confident in talking with people and presenting things that I love to people. And that's followed me through the rest of my life since then. Like I just feel more sure of myself, and I love that. That's something that I've gained. And the other big thing that I got through Kiwi is, well, the obvious, scrapbooking is so easy for me now and I just love it. But I did learn that I was more creative than I thought I was. And I learned a lot of skills. I'm a self-taught graphic designer now, and that was because of Kiwi. I never would have pursued that. I never would have learned how to design paper or products or things like that without being involved in this company. And it's awesome because I love it. I love designing. I love to express my creativity that way. And I would never have had that if I hadn't been part of this company. So those are a couple of big things. I mean, there's so many I could name, but those are two that just really stand out for me in my life, blessings that I've had.
All right, Deb, go.
So remember how I always say you and I are so much alike? At times we will, if we're in the same room, we will actually sigh at the same time.
It's true.
Or we will say a phrase or word at the same time. So Susan did give us a heads up on this so we could think about it. Otherwise, we'd be sitting here too long. And so the first thing I wrote down was, I've learned that I'm more creative than I ever thought I was. Which is what you said first too. But it's true. I never really thought of myself as creative. I had a very talented mom who did a lot of arts and crafts and sewing and all that, and I really couldn't do a lot of that. I just loved scrapbooking. I really did. From the moment I was invited to a church activity where they were scrapbooking together, and I thought, I can't do that. I don't know, but I just tried, and it just kept going. And over the years, that confidence in being creative. Just being creative affects every other avenue of my life. That gives me confidence to be creative in other areas. The other thing was that I learned that I can do anything I have to do. I can learn anything I have to know, and just keep on keeping on. And that's just a business. That's just starting something with all your heart and wanting to see it succeed, and just being willing to work really hard. And we've changed hats so many times, or had piled up hats so many times. And
hats as far as duties, it's a common business term, hats.
I know.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, it's funny because Shiloh mentioned the shows, but what grabbed our hearts at the beginning when we were doing those shows for so many years was seeing the faces of people after we demoed and showed them the possibilities with Kiwi Lane products, with the designer templates, showing the albums, and they'd go, you could see the moment they got it. And then they'd go back to their tables and they would scrapbook, and they'd come back and they'd say, look what I just made.
Yeah.
And we'd ring a cowbell and we'd say, yay. And it was really fun. But I learned that I love seeing people happy. I love helping make people happy. And that's been the journey we have for Kiwi.
And that's why she oversees our Kiwi Lane experience, or our relationship support department. I said, Debbie, that's where you belong. We need to put you there. Yeah. Okay, so it is like my brain was like, whoa, that was a deep question. There are so many skills. I remember one time I was talking to even my dad, and we were talking business and just general like skills that you have to learn about, like just running a business, operating a business. And he was like, who am I talking to right now? Which I love the creative part, but then you also have to do like, the behind the scenes work, which sometimes like is really not the fun part, but you learn so much. And like the same thing, I've learned that everything seems impossible until it's done. Like there is nothing that you cannot Google, that you cannot research, that you cannot like educate or watch something, especially with the world we live in now. Like there's just so many resources to expand your skills in different ways. So we're very self-learned in a lot of things. I was never a graphic designer either. Like Shiloh, like it was just like, oh, okay, well, let's
learn out of necessity.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do it our way. Like we tried working with other graphics. Remember that the time, Shy? We were like, no,
it didn't quite work. We're like, we knew what we wanted. It didn't quite, like trying to tell somebody else it just didn't work. So
anyways, but yeah, I think the biggest thing that I have really, really absorbed and taken away from this journey as far as growth goes is just realizing how much God is actually part of like our day-to-day, like our career, our lives, our families, like every single aspect of our lives, our passions, our dreams, our desires, our fears, our like all of the above. And we've always been so prayerful about every decision, and even prayerful on the scalability, like when we grow, like how fast we grow, because it's always a balance when you start a business. And I've heard stories on multiple ends of the spectrum, like certain things going to the wayside or these ones. And just, I feel like for me, it's always just this observational from my relationship with God actually crazy increased during the Kiwi Lane experience, just to see him actually push, like I feel like push me in different areas to keep driving this force for whatever many reasons that is the plan. So that's my honest answer. So, okay. All right. So let's see. What has been the biggest surprise for you? Anyone?
Oh, biggest surprise?
Yeah, that one's kind of, I didn't prep you guys for that one.
How hard software is.
This is true.
Products made.
It is still the one skill, for whatever it's worth, that is a little bit out of our control. We have to depend on some resources. We've gotten some pretty dependable people over the years now, but yeah, it's not like, I don't know, we can't really go Google coding. Like,
right.
So that is one skill that we are always like, we wish it was in our control, like, and it's just one of those things that you kind of have to depend on third parties in most cases. So yeah. How has your original vision for Kiwi Lane changed since you started this journey? And in what ways has it stayed the same? That was from Lindsay.
Lindsay's been around.
She has been.
I would say, I don't know, I'm just gonna throw it out there, is that the original vision for Kiwi Lane, the vision kind of came in like steps.
Yeah, I was gonna say bits and pieces. Like we kept getting that inspiration from God for the next one. We're like, woo! And then
I remember that we decided to do shows to plant. We said we want to plant kiwi seeds all over the country.
Yeah.
So that when we eventually went home party,
people
there
would know.
Be people all around that at least had heard our name before and kind of knew what our products were. And I feel like that plan worked well for us at the time.
Yeah. It was hard to do a little bit of a transition, but again, it was just expanding. We wanted to expand beyond that. We knew that just your traditional retail. So for us, it was more like we wanted to go out and share it. And again, it was purely for funds. Also, like we needed the funds to run a business, to keep the,
well, you got to have it to grow, and then we needed to share it to grow. And it just,
I think though, if I was going to say what has stayed the same, is one of our needs to share. The word share, share, is just something that has always been from the very beginning till now. Something that we strive to do in different ways. Actually, I do have, oh my gosh, 7:30. Time goes by so quickly, guys. The first mission statement was to simplify the scrapbooking process, minimize the cost of creating a beautiful layout, and providing inspiration that will unlock the inner designer in all of us.
Unlock the
second mission statement.
We've gone through a few drafts.
We kept refining, and that's just how life is. You refine, you go through the fire in some different ways, and you learn and you grow, like you live and learn. I'm a huge believer in that now, live and learn. And then, so anyway, second statement, to simplify the scrapbooking process by inspiring and sharing with others the sense of fulfillment and creative freedom that framing, which is what we used to call play to create, by the way, has brought to our scrapbooking, that has brought to our scrapbooking experience. The third statement, to add fulfillment to the lives of others by helping them to play joyfully, share freely, and inspire sincerely. And our fourth statement, hopefully our final, we'll see as we progress. And really, I guess it's learning. Oh gosh, this is really like going to sound odd to some people, but for me, Kiwi Lane is a human being on its own. It's comprised of different individuals and personalities and passions and dreams and desires, and all of that goes into it. But this thing is a living thing, and it grows. It evolves and it grows. And our job is to make sure that it's evolving and growing in the right direction for all of those involved. So that's kind of how I see it. Weird, right? Yeah, I know. And the fourth statement is to inspire others to live more playful, creative, and connected lives. And that was at the beginning of 2019 that we really felt, again, impressed. Actually, we all came, like you guys came out to Carolina at that time. Yeah. And that's when we decided, 3 days of banging our head? Mm-hmm. It was like legit 3 days.
Another baby was born.
Right.
Yeah. Like, what do we feel about this? Why do we feel that way? Like, what is important? Like, why are we thinking that? Like, you know, but it was just, I definitely was like, don't you guys want a vacation? You need to fly out here. I really feel impressed that we're supposed to take a stab at this direction and our message and our mission. So, but the mission is what drives us for sure. Always has been. So that's never really changed.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mary Bowden, a couple more, and then we'll go into some product questions. Has the success of Kiwi Lane met your expectation or surpassed them?
We're all waiting for
it's meeting my expectation. You know, way back when we began, I knew we had something special, and going around and sharing it with people all over the country just reconfirmed that to me. And I've just always known Kiwi would grow and go, and it's just doing that. That's exactly what it's doing. It's changed over the years, but it's still that core value of sharing and wanting to help people, and seeing them be happy, and we're still doing that. And
well,
so
I think it goes back to
my expectations.
Yeah, like helping others.
Growing.
Yeah, helping others. Again, I think that's just one of the things that is so important to our story, is that like it happened first for us. Mm-hmm. Like we started to feel more creative. We started to feel like more joy out of the process. We started to feel like, you know, we could do these things and share them with other people.
Still feel that way.
Right, right. But it's just that kind of need to allow others to hopefully experience that, and kind of, you know, don't knock it till you try it kind of concept, because I would have been the same way. we went through all the levels of it, but ultimately it comes down to this fulfillment comes through creating. Yeah, there's their passion. There's something so beautiful though with scrapbooking when you combine like pictures with creativity. That's one of the things we all three of us, but then you were like, really the core though is just so much the joy that comes when people start believing they're creative and stop doubting themselves and questioning themselves, you know, and just let the freedom, the play, which is where play to create end up morphing into, that's exactly what you're tapping into, is to give yourself permission to explore that. Okay. Oh, and then Mary Bowden, she says, do you remember what year you were at the show at Mesa, Arizona Convention Center? That's where I first met you guys.
Oh,
Don't remember the year. I should have looked it up. I have it all written out in a document somewhere, but I don't know, Mary. Sorry, I should have done a little homework on that one for you. But
there's a lot of shows.
No, we drove to that show.
Right, from Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me see. If you could go back before Kiwi Lane was founded in the early stages when it was founded, what is one or two things you would tell your past self to look forward to concerning the business or yourself? I shouldn't have read that question. And then we're going to move on to the other category. I was like, wait, there's one more, and that was from my daughter, Abby. Dang her, she's too deep.
You're very deep. Abby?
Okay, so let me ask that question one more time. What? If you could go back before Kiwi Lane was founded in the early stages, what is one thing you would tell your past self to look forward to concerning the business or yourself? Oh, that's really deep. Let's process that one. Maybe we'll.
I know we might have needed more time to think through this one. I'm trying to think.
Okay, I just saw her
Hold
name.
on.
Just hold on.
I was just gonna say it will.
Enjoying the journey.
Going. It's gonna work. Just keep going.
That would be probably. I mean, there were definitely some moments where it felt really hard. So but I mean, we made it through it.
Takes a lot of effort and a lot of determination. I think that those two words actually are, again, words that always come back to my mind when I think about like past, like determination, effort, like keep going, because again, you're juggling so much. You're juggling just trying to learn none of us have a business degree, like, and then of course everything else. What?
We're moms that continually
learn.
Moms.
Self-taught for all the stuff we need to do now.
That's right.
I've added a lot more titles to my name, but yes, in the beginning, I mean, I was a stay-at-home mom, so yeah. Okay, some personal questions. Let's lighten it up a little. Heather says, fantastic question, Abby. She's my writer, Heather. She could get pretty out there and deep. Anyways, that's another discussion for another day. Okay, so Mindy says, if you could only eat one treat for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Cheesecake.
See's candy or Pocky sticks?
Oh, you had to say See's candy.
I'm surprised you didn't say See's candy.
That's because they've been talking about cheesecake at the office.
See, they have such a variety with See's candy because it can all go under that umbrella of See's candy, right?
Susan.
I know. I didn't think about it.
Susan, coconut, anything.
I do like coconut. I do. The crazy thing, it sounds pathetic. So it's so pathetic. I'm like, protein shakes?
I was gonna say, maybe a smoothie, if I could choose.
Because I'm not a foodie. Like, it's so inconvenient to me. I'm like, oh, I gotta eat. I do love a donut. So I guess donuts.
He does love a donut.
I do love donuts. Donuts are good. Kim, she asked, how long have you and your husbands have been married? That's a really personal one.
21
years. That towards when?
Been married, Shiloh.
21 years.
Yeah, we're coming up on 20 years in December.
I know, I had to sit there and count, but I'm like, Jason's 20.
Right.
We're 21.
19 years. I don't know. Debbie's like, okay. Think about that, Deb.
You were
I'm a widow.
Sarah. So
a widow, but you were married for many years before that.
I believe in the afterlife, so we'll go with I got married in 1975, and it's 2020. So 45 years.
Have you ever got a paper cut using your paper?
Oh.
Using so much paper all the time. I don't think I've ever got a paper cup from scrapbooking.
I don't think so, but I got one from a Costa Vida lid, and that scares me every time I take those lids off now.
I honestly, that is a question for the comments, you guys. I'm curious, have any of you ever had a paper cup from scrapbooking paper?
Not that I've ever recalled. I mean, maybe, but nothing that stands out.
Yeah, I definitely use paper oft, but I've had paper cut, but never from a paper scrapbooking. We must have a mutual love for each other.
Mm.
Respect it.